A sack of potatoes, 1 bag of potatoes. A sack of potatoes, 1 bag of potatoes. A sack of potatoes, 1 bag of potatoes.
And we are live talking about disconnected politician that talk BS, like the guy that thought these apples were potatoes. How are you, D-Lord?
I'm good. Just weird day. I
I
mean,
feel you.
granted, I was like, nah, I'm just trying to act something off of the list. And then I had to, something ceremoniously ended, but it would have been fun if it happened. But just remember when you're an aging jock and you're trying to relive your glory days, just watch who you do stuff with and don't mess with someone wittier than you.
I
But I
feel
have an
you.
eye. I have an eye for talent and futures of people. But that is drama for another. But other than that, just rest of the day, I've been trying to axe a project off a list. So I was like, I'll do that today. But yeah,
Interesting.
lazy
So
day for me. So,
we are back again, reacting to Canadian politics question period for the previous week that just ended. And I will mention this already. In the last two streams we had, just like this one, we had 5 question period. This time around, it's only 3 because for some reason I don't know why and how we didn't get Parliament on Monday and Tuesday. So I my guess, the only thing that makes sense is they were doing committee, and that's why I see so many committee video floating around. So this means next week, instead of doing a question period stream like the one we are doing right now, we will be doing a committee stream, which is a bit similar, but now they will speak about specific laws and how dangerous they can be and how they could be used, and that could be very interesting to cover. So with that being said, let's get
that can also be a very interesting brain rot, judging from the. No, I'm gonna be very honest. I was listening to them discuss that. You want to go over that C9 bill or whatever?
that's next week. That's one
Yeah,
of the
you're gonna have
committee.
fun on your take on that's gonna be interesting, but that's
It's ridiculous. I've seen every video I could about that. It's dangerous.
it's
What's
not
your
even
take
it's not that
on?
it's dangerous. The problem there's the premise. I'll say this openly. Like you're talking about having a charter of rights, not to just say what me and Mandalore have said in the background. Think of it as our constitution.
Yours is much more solid than
See,
ours.
you think our constitution is solid. It is solid, but you can govern around it and ignore it, and that's what I think is happening in Canada. You can claim to have a charter of rights. They're just going up and over and around it because our constitution legally has loopholes that you can drive through it. It's not that a president has all this power or abuses power. You would be surprised how much power the president has in the US, as an example given by the Constitution. And unless something meets a constitutional challenge, it never gets tested. And up there, if you have that Charter of Rights, which is supposed to guarantee your state's freedoms or whatever province's freedoms, I wish you luck because you would have to take that to your court and have that done. But from what I'm seeing, it's a bunch of governance trying to circumvent that. And they've
Yeah,
been
and
doing it
and
for 10 years.
yeah, more than that, like it's hilarious how the liberals they pretend they are the party of the freedom of rights and that kind of stuff, but they are the ones that want to change it, and they are the ones that want to rewrite history anyway. um what's your take on Canadian tax? Well, my take is we pay way too much. It's ridiculous, it's disgusting, it's stupid, and a lot of it is actually sending foreign aid money to like bunch of terrorist organization and war that just never ends. So we are effed up. With that being said, we are covering question
Multi, do
period.
you have a VAT?
The what?
Do you have a VAT tax?
A what?
Value added tax.
What's that?
Okay. You would know if you have it or not. It's like the EU, but I don't know if Canada has one.
We have a
Okay.
lot of different taxes.
No, so in like the EU, like I don't know, certain places have a VAT tax, which is value added tax, which is additional on top of things.
The EU is filled with tax, and it's
No, I
kinda-
mean does Canada have one?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. We pay so much taxes that I wouldn't know.
You just don't know which ones. Never mind.
So yeah, let's get into the first question period.
Oral questions, questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
After the Prime Minister broke his promise to, quote, negotiate a win with the Americans by July 21st, lumber tariffs have more than doubled, and job losses are piling up. Cap Paper is potentially laying off 300 workers in Northern Ontario. That's on top of 800 workers who are losing their jobs at Imperial Oil. TransCanada and Enbridge are building more in the United States as their headquarters move south after the Prime Minister broke his promise to build, baby, build. Doesn't the Prime Minister realize that when he doesn't do his job, Canadians lose theirs?
Think about it. What deal was he supposed to have with Trump? This is what you got to ask, because whether Polyev won or him, Trump still. Well, he didn't help that he went over to Trump. Didn't show it, but he also, because the idea, Trump's using tariffs as an economic weapon, as other nations did long ago, which was about the late 1800s to the early 1900s idea.
And
So-
I will also add this. The entire campaign of Mark Carney is saying he was the one that was able to deal with Trump, and that was his platform, and that's why he was elected. Well, Pierre Poilievre didn't platform much dealing with Trump. He was trying to place the focus elsewhere. So again, that's why we drive it home. It's because we want to highlight how of a liar he is, because he said he would be the one dealing with Trump, but we are 6 months in and no deal was done.
So if you think too, economic policy, this is what's going to hit us right now, because in the U.S. we do have a government shutdown. Now,
Yeah.
It's interesting because in the term of Trump also has the midterms coming up. So if you're thinking about economics, it takes roughly 6 months. It takes a period of time, depending on the economy, for economies to take effect. So although, e.g. for us, all those jobs that Trump was supposed to make or making with like manufacturing jobs, we won't see those until close to the midterms, because you need 6 months towards basically through this quarter. Canada, let's assume you have 6 months, and unless he was right on top of that and he was already trying to stabilize it, you're not going to see any effects from that, good or bad, until 3 to 5 months, at least 6 months down the road. You're seeing some of it in the food, but you're not seeing it in totality.
But they added so many taxes that it wouldn't matter.
That's
anyway.
going to come back. Now, see, here's the thing, like, you can do the cut the taxes, but as I said, I'm not saying it's a false dichotomy of an attack to claim like gotchas on one side. The issue with Canadian politics right now is your liberals are where our liberals were about a decade ago. Everything they say, sure. Like the thing about your budget, you can say, oh, it's the first time you had a budget. Not had a budget. You probably not realize there's not been a functional budget. In the US, we just operate on continuing resolutions. So saying, and the thing is, Carney's platform came on, yes, to go against Trump and everything else. Polyev, you could argue, said was hurt by Trump's statement.
Yeah,
But it
definitively.
was also
Trump gave away the election to Carney.
I don't think there's that argument. But there's also the argument he was running against Carney and 3 or 4 other liberals, which divide the vote.
But
So
that's more like the liberal vote that's usually divided.
But if that's 60% of the nation, let's assume you have 60% of your voters. I mean, that.
But again, if that would be any other election, the number of seats we got right now is enough to form government. A minority, but that's still enough. So again, the reason why we lost is because the NDP collapsed, and usually the NDP would siphon away lots of seats from the liberals.
But see, there, I will say this too. You know, the guy in Quebec, the main Quebec First guy, he asks really good questions, but all of them are very pointed wrong. They expose stuff. But see, now, here's the thing about it. You're not exactly magically going to fix your economy in 3 to 6 months. That's just a known fact. Like, you guys more up there than I have, because in the U.S. we only know about sectors or whatever. To create jobs, yeah, you can open up a plant, say crack open a plant, but the economics of that plant are not going to be felt for 6 to 8 months. Now, the other side is, if there's an economic policy ever put into place by the people in power generally, it's theirs the moment that policy takes place. Does that make sense, Multi?
Yeah.
Because this is where Carney, it's going to be interesting if they can. He can do this stuff, and he can find a place to hit it. But the tariffs, it's not necessarily the tariffs are hitting up there as bad. It's the fact alone, it's not the tariffs hurting as much as the direction of your economy.
Yeah.
Because it's no secret the U.S. has to go to you guys for natural resources. Some of them. We still get aluminum and other things, and we still have manufacturing. So it's not like, oh, for all our stuff down here, we can say we can get aluminum out of the ground, but that would require us opening mines.
Our sympathies are with the families of the workers at Imperial Oil. Our actions,
and that's their policy, Multi.
The workers and the management of Cap Paper, who are having meetings with the Minister of Industry, a variety of other government officials today to work. Our support is foursquare behind Algoma Steel, with $400 million between the federal government and the province of Ontario to build Canada strong.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, since he took office, 86,000 more Canadians are unemployed. We have the second highest unemployment in the G7. This is all the result of out-of-control government spending and taxes. Every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians. And now the Parliamentary Budget Officer rates his deficits as, quote, very alarming, stupefying, shocking, unsustainable. If you don't change, this is done. Something is going to break. We are at the edge of a cliff. Those are the words of the Parliamentary Budget Officer. When will he stop his out-of-control spending? When he's over the edge of the cliff?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there's a little thing called cause and effect. And the cause that the Leader of the Opposition is missing is the U.S. U.S. tariffs, the U.S. tariffs that are hitting steel,
No.
the U.S. tariffs that are hitting lumber, the U.S. tariffs that are hitting our auto sector. That's why we need to build this
The
That's-
boogeyman.
country strong. That's
No,
why
that's
we're getting
actually
spending
could
under
be
control.
part of
That's
it,
why we're going to
but
spend
that
less
can also
to
be the
invest
economics
more.
earning
I
is
believe in this
down.
country, Mr. Speaker.
But again,
The
he
honourable
doesn't admit
leader of the-
it's taxes and bad policies.
The honourable leader of the opposition.
Well, you're not going to exactly.
Spend
Let's
less?
hypothetically
Deficit
assume.
spending is up almost 100% since this prime minister took office.
See, spending
And
is
as
going to
for
go up
investment,
regardless.
It has fallen. In fact, $50 billion
But if
of
his
net investment
policy
has
is
left since he took
anti-oil and
office.
anti-fossil
and yet he
fuel,
repeats the same promises the
it's
Liberals
gonna
have
hurt
been making
that
for a
industry.
decade. They said their deficits would lead to more investment. Since they took office, investment is down by 10%, the worst investment record in the G7. In fact, with $600 billion more debt under this government, investment has fallen. How much more debt would they have to add on the backs of Canadians to reverse this disastrous result?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, it's time for a little fiscal lesson for the Leader of the Opposition. Strongest credit rating in the world.
For now.
by S&P and Moody's. Lowest deficit in the G7. Lowest debt level in the G7. Lowest net debt to GDP in the G7. Biggest potential in the G7. This side of the House believes in Canada.
but your earning levels not.
Lowest GDP as well. Our GDP is falling
No,
off the
so
cliff.
the thing is, okay,
Our GDP is falling off the cliff, and
Okay,
I gotta say that I gotta say that it's hilarious how he really promote the liberal slogan. It's just hilarious.
so the debt to GDP ratio thing is interesting. Like if you take Japan had the lost decade. That's like what largely you see in the 90s into the early 2000s, where the reason why they are also still very beholden to the rest of the world. They were living on a lot of borrowed credit. Most of our system runs on a debt to GDP ratio. Canada can run good, but your economic growth is not as strong.
And by the way, you mentioned a AAA credit. I predict already the budget is so bad we will lose our AAA credit and we will fall off to a double A.
See, that's the thing. Like the U.S., right? In the U.S., we had a downgrade. Okay, so printing money is both a double-edged sword. It allows continuing budgets, assuming that's what if they use that model. You have to either find the money or make it up. See, Trump's economy in the short term, the first quarter is actually earning and the markets are up. But the reason why we can actually maintain a good debt to GDP ratio right now, see, technically our debt to GDP goes up steadily, which if you think it's high, because we can still earn enough and service the debt. Canada is probably in that place that they didn't borrow as much, but they are also not growing as much.
We don't grow because nobody wants to invest in.
Well, you guys did have the auto industry. You had the
Collapsing.
auto. You had the. So let's assume, right? If liberal policy, let's assume liberals even or progressives hate the idea of using fossil fuels, coal, whatever, mining. Like one of the first things years ago, Obama and both Biden's administration later on went after is the coal mining / basically natural gas industry, et cetera, et cetera. You need water, solar, or wind. Now, hypothetically, let's assume you're in a region that thrives on that. Government regulation deems you can't open a mine or barely run a mine, or there's restrictions. I'm sure parts of Canada are blasted wastelands. They're only good That's where I'll give Canada props on stuff. Most of that area is only good for certain natural resources.
And the Liberals, they don't want to use it.
They don't want to, because the Keystone Pipeline would have benefited everyone.
The right honorable.
Because we got zealots
Leader
in
of the
charge.
opposition.
They don't think.
Speaker, I know that sometimes it gets
I
heated
would
in
have
this
taken
place.
a
and
10-year investment.
Recently, I said that this prime minister was just as irresponsible with money as Justin Trudeau, and I now realize that that was unfair to Justin Trudeau. In reality, he has increased the deficit by almost 70% above what Justin Trudeau left behind. And now the parliamentary budget officer describes this prime minister's deficits as alarming, stupefying, unstable, unsustainable. If you don't change, this is done, and something is going to break. How is it even possible for this prime minister to be more fiscally incompetent than the drama teacher?
The right honorable prime minister.
Nobody believes you. I can't imagine, Mr. Speaker, I can't imagine why it gets heated in the House with language like that.
Yeah,
The former Prime Minister. This government is conducting a comprehensive spending review. This government is building houses. This government is building projects in the national interest. This government is building Canada strong. Come join us. Well done.
The honorable leader of the opposition.
Mais ça vient d'une vraie
Mr. Speaker, coming from a real economic expert, the parliamentary budget officer has said that this Prime Minister's deficits are very alarming, stupefying, shocking, unsustainable. If you don't change something, this is done. Something is going to break here. Canada isn't over the cliff yet, but it's looking out over the cliff. Mr. Speaker, every dollar being spent by this Prime Minister is coming out of Canadians' pockets. Will he finally recognize that Canadians can no longer pay the bill for his incompetence?
Hold on a sec.
The
You're
right
currently,
honorable
as of 2024, 110% of your GDP is debt. US
Yeah.
is 120. And they're talking that there is healthy. You're indebted to the IMF up the ass. See, this is a rating you don't know about it. I know about it.
I didn't know. That's right.
As I
That's why
said, the
laughed.
U.S. can maintain this because we have a good GDP. We still have stuff despite having a debt to China and all these other places. You guys have no productivity, and it's 100, as of 2024, by the IMF, 110%. And in a growth economy, that's drowning.
Oh, I like it.
You have no idea. That's just...
Mr. Speaker, Canada has the strongest economic record in the G7. Canada has some of the lowest long-term interest rates in the G7. Lower
Just
than the American rate.
$2.3 trillion. That's it.
On this side of the House, we have a great deal of
As of
ambition.
June.
We will build Canada strong.
Honorable leader of the
On
opposition.
what money?
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised the Canadians would be able to judge him by their experience at the grocery store. Well, that experience is what is now being called struggle meals, where Canadians are now sharing tips on how they can scrounge together meals that are often of lower nutritional value because that's all they can afford. Food price inflation has accelerated to almost double the Bank of Canada's target, rising 50% faster in Canada than in the United States since this Prime Minister took office,
But we'll
promising
admit,
the
food
reverse.
prices are
Will he
pretty bad for
finally
you guys.
axe the liberal taxes on groceries so that Canadians can afford to eat?
The right honorable prime minister.
And just before we go into the answer, there was a motion this week, and it's kind of worrying. It tells me that for the conservative to be able to do anything, they would need a majority government. So the motion was to axe the tax on food, and I was shocked. 190 seats said no, we don't touch the tax, and only the conservative, 140 of the conservative, said let's axe it. So when I heard about that, I lost hope. I was like, we are doomed. Like the Bloc, NDP, and Liberals, they all cited and said, you know what, we keep the taxes on. It's hilarious, worrying, and shocking. It's ridiculous.
So the problem you face. So as of June, you guys have a $2.3 trillion debt. Okay. That's the debt coming into at least as of June, and that's going to follow you guys down. That's the national debt, and I mean, I could say it's in the U.S. It's kind of strange, but granted. Now, I'm assuming with IMF, you can borrow more money, but they already own or sway anyways, or WEF. WEF is a big one up there. But the thing, like,
WEF belong all in jail.
no, here's the thing, for real. Like, they are as bad as the IMF, but
They are an insult to democracy.
to basically get even out of what you guys have is, let's assume you take away the taxes on food. It's also earning power. Earning power is as important. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of you guys, your areas, still use shipping and trucking. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
So
We don't have a
shipping,
choice. We cannot ship with tanker or plane because of
shipping,
stupid
trucks,
laws.
trains, basically
We,
getting
we have
around.
stupid laws that stop us from shipping overseas.
So your food, do you have like rule of food that is only by truckers or is by trucking or train?
Yes. Well, we can get imports from other countries, but we cannot export.
So how? See, this is what I was wondering why there's such a food shipping crisis. Is it a truck driver problem,
It's
or
in Canada. In Canada, it's a stupid liberal law issue. I don't know in the states, but here it's because of the liberals. They wanted to make sure we don't ship overseas, and as someone that's not conservative biased or whatever, like I wouldn't know, but I know as a conservative, I know that they don't want to have a prosperous Canada. They want people to be broke, and they want people to
well,
depend
the
on
tax
government.
issue aside, it's a supply chain issue. Why do you guys have a supply chain issue? Now,
Because we have stupid laws.
see, that would be the thing. Even in my area, one grocery store is different than another. But there's that is still. But I'm not going to say. I'm going to say this. Since COVID, people do not understand. At least in North America, or I've seen it. Supply chains in sections of at least the U.S. still look bad. Now, I'm not sure in Canada it's probably the same thing. So, like, if you go to a grocery store, they're out of this or they're out of that. The bread aisle is thin. Now, that's not because you're not producing. Now, if that's government regulation or supplies are lower, that's an entirely
That's
separate.
government regulation.
Yeah, that's
We
more
are done.
issues. That is more issue. That is
Canada is
actually.
cooked.
See, that's a bigger problem because the quickest way, unironically, to a revolution is a starving population.
Yeah.
And the only thing is, let's hypothetically say you fix that supply chain issue. Now, if it's an earning power problem, you can't. So let's assume people are living paycheck to paycheck. In the US, we have this as an issue as well. They, in turn, right now, there was actually just a study that just came out. About 40% of Americans, at least, has to go find the exact number. I mean, Riley talked about it. But
Yeah.
it is still paycheck to paycheck all the way up to seniors. So
Yeah.
you're deciding on what you spend it on. Now, if people are scrounging already and going to food banks,
Our food banks are empty now because we don't have the money.
and then who supplies the food banks, and then who supplies the grocery stores?
Yeah. Oh, we got a Mandalore. There we go. Welcome.
It's gonna probably a little bit more. No, but
Ready
you get
to see the train wreck?
but you get what I'm saying, right, Multi? Because
Yeah, I get it. But
as
welcome,
supply chain,
Mandalore.
yes.
Welcome, Mandalore. So we are covering question period. This week we only had 3. So we laugh at the liberal lies, and it's entertaining. So welcome. I'm glad to see you, Mandalore. Is your mic working?
I don't know, is it?
Oh, yeah, it does. Well, I'm glad you're alive. I was worried at some point. Welcome. How are you today?
Tired, I need to grab a caffeine.
I feel you. So now we'll hear about how amazing Canada is under the Liberals.
Monsieur le Président, il n'y a pas.
His French is so terrible, it's an insult to
There's
the
no
language.
GST on groceries.
I swear.
Number 2, we cut the carbon tax. There's no carbon tax. There's no carbon tax on
Cutting one
farms.
tax
There's no
doesn't-
carbon tax on grocery stores. There is no carbon
But
Cutting
tax.
one-
what he doesn't say is we still have the industrial carbon tax. So even if it's not like on the bill the consumer see, it's on the bill of the provider. So therefore the consumer still pays for it. It's ridiculous.
A tax credit, and the funny thing is, a tax credit means nothing. Like let's assume you cut one minor carbon tax. That doesn't take an overall.
Oh, you guys are both forgetting. He cut the carbon tax. Don't you remember? Well, we
And
had
now,
win.
now we got the industrial carbon tax that
And
only
everyone
conservatives know about.
everyone with half a brain said, "Oh no, he just changed it so he could bring it back at any time. It's not gone. It's just coming back under different terms." It's like, no, it's not. Well, no, yeah.
People, low information voters, folks.
Anything under 50
Over
kilotons.
single issue voters.
Monsieur le Président, but we see the big picture. We know that real wages have been growing every
But now he's
single
back
month
speaking
since
in
I became
English
Prime
because his
Minister.
French is terrible.
L'honorable député de Belleuil-Chambly.
The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker,
No, screw him too.
the government has just interfered in an already very complex negotiation within Canada Post.
He actually asks good
And
questions.
I can only call that
Oh, but he's still a
provocation
piece of shit.
in the context of an already very complicated conflict.
But Mandalore, he will
government is
get
adding
back some of the
to the
liberals, man.
uncertainty that is being
They will
caused
vote
by many
bloc
governments,
again.
Not just
He's
workers'
bitching about
families.
oil. It's ruining the country.
creating
Blah 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 blah.
in
He's
various towns,
holding back the
in
country
Quebec's
because
regions, and I
Quebec
expect
is
elsewhere
all
in
that
Canada as
matters.
well.
Quebec offers
It's
nothing but
also
dirty French
causing a great
people
deal
and
of alarm to
Muslims now.
seniors. So let me
By
get
the
this
way,
clear.
Mandalore, I don't know if you realize it, but Quebec elected like 40-ish members of the Liberal Party right now. So you should be happy that the Bloc is tearing them apart. They will gain back some of these seats.
No,
I'm all in for the Bloc to split the
there's
Liberal
there's
vote.
no saving Canada at this point. Canada is literally fucked. No, you laugh,
What does
but
the Prime
it's
Minister think of
true. Like, even our conservatives are not that conservative compared to Americans.
I think that's a
Right,
good thing.
article that I shared on Twitter and on Facebook about how they're now taking people of MAID and using them as organ donors. They're calling people for
No.
organs. And they're taking away guns. Like, they're doing to us what they did to the UK.
That's the Liberal
They're
again.
protecting the criminals and they're hurting the people who actually are Canadians. One second.
Yeah.
Postal Service. The Right Honorable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Postal Service is an essential service.
Yeah.
We need a viable postal service.
Made by Brookfield.
Currently, the situation is difficult. Canada Post is losing millions of dollars. We need to take action. We need to restructure. The Honourable Member. I think that the government's deficit is going to be much larger than Canada Post's losses. But if this is really an essential
Oh, is he in
service,
defense of
Mr.
Canada
Speaker,
Post?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a
why are
flaming
these
fag.
radical cuts being made? Let's show some consistency. And workers learned about these cuts on their TV.
But again, that will
rather
siphon
than
away
actually
liberal votes.
hearing
That's what we
about what's gonna
want,
happen.
Mandalore. You don't get it.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No, it's the only thing he's done proper.
But it will do it even more.
Mr. Speaker, I have
Canada
been
Post
deprived
has
here as
the
Prime
last two
Minister.
strikes have hurt them, like the big ones, not just that little rotating one they had in the summer, but the
It
one
has
they
been
had
some
last
time
December, almost a
we've
year
needed to
ago,
have
and then the one they
changes in Canada
had
Post.
either the year before that they
Because
did the
it
other
is an
Christmas
essential
one,
service
was, I think
throughout the
a year or
country.
two before that.
Collègue Chambly.
It showed how many people
The Honourable Member.
that they don't need Canada Post. They're finding
Mr. Speaker,
alternatives.
if Quebecers and Canadians
They
had
want more
wanted
money
to have the
for
Conservative
less
Party
work.
in power, they would
You're
have
getting
voted for the
less work now
Conservative
because
Party.
of everyone's going to other places.
The Liberals' fiscal
Amazon's moved into almost every
and
big
climate
city
and oil
in the country
strategies are
and
basically
shipped to outside.
conservative strategies. Same thing with these austerity strategies. Will the
It's
Prime
giving them
Minister
what they
put an end
demanded,
to his wrong-headed
what they
strategy
deserve.
and instead bring in serious experts to reform a postal service that does, in fact, need reform?
I think this is a silver bullet because now it's not coming from the conservative that the liberals are acting like conservative. It's other opposition parties. So that means maybe a lot of these blue arid bitches, they will be like, you know what? Let's go back to the NDP.
Oh no,
Honourable
the
Prime
NDP had
Minister.
a meeting with
Mr. Speaker,
the NDP leader, current leader, had a
it
meeting
is
with
Canada
Carney.
Post's and the
So you know he
union's
just offered to pay him
responsibility
out for
to
stuff.
find a solution between themselves. But in this context, we need more flexibility for Canada Post in a manner that is consistent with the report.
So, word salad as usual. Let's skip back to the end because we will hear about some NDP bullshit. There
What do you
we
mean
go.
NDP's going to talk?
There cannot be any shortcuts around Section 35 rights.
Government's approach to nation building. Partnership.
The Honourable Member for Kenora, Kiiwetinoong.
Northern Ontario was hit with devastating job news this week, Mr. Speaker, when Cap Paper and Kapuskasing announced plans to close their mill, directly affecting 300 jobs and indirectly many more. The company is blaming a lack of federal supports for this decision, saying that although a program was announced months ago to help, nothing is going to be available in time to save this mill. Mr. Speaker, this is completely ridiculous, and it's incompetence at its worst. Why have the Liberals broken their promise to these workers by making big, grand announcements and then leaving Northern Ontario abandoned?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
I don't hear them talking about the old
Speaker,
people who are
this closure of
abandoned
Cap
by them
Paper is
changing the
gut
services in the
punch to
first place.
Workers, to their families, and of course to communities. And the
Queen of
federal
the
government
gaslight is
at
speaking,
the table and willing to help. The province needs to come back to the table. That being said, I'm meeting along with the Minister of Jobs, the executives of Cap Paper this afternoon, and we're in
she's
solution
so
mode.
full
Thank you, Mr.
bullshit.
I hate her so
Honourable
much.
Member
Each
for
time I hear
Winnipeg
about
Centre.
what she's
Mr. Speaker, the
blabbing
Liberal
about,
government is
I'm
siding
angry.
with Canada Post executives to help privatize the postal service. And what does that mean, Mr. Speaker? Cuts to services for seniors, the disability community, and rural areas, while attacking good-paying union jobs. Well, today, Mr.
Oh,
Speaker,
so you still have a
Postal
strong
said no
postal-
more, rallying on Parliament
That
Hill
means
to
your
tell
new
the Prime
current
Minister
postal
no
generation
more
is
cuts
not
to
paying for the
Canada
previous.
Post. Why does
Because
the
you need like
minister
20 pensioner,
stop
20
what he's
workers to
doing,
pay for
actually
one
do his
pensioner.
job, protect public
That's actually
services,
kind of
and
used to
stop
be the old
attacking
number.
workers?
Good luck keeping that up.
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to the contrary, Mr. Speaker, it's because we realize on this side, and we know
We are
that
liars.
Canada Post is an essential institution to the fabric of our nation, that
Because
we're
we get
making
nice
and
people
taking
for
the
it.
necessary steps to put it on a path to financial viability. Canada Post,
Wait,
Mr.
pause.
Speaker, is an institution
Okay, one
worth
moment,
saving.
They talk about the union and all these hard workers, blah, 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 blah. But no one seems to be bringing up how the union handled it last Christmas. There was that one guy who proudly says, I don't care if I ruin your Christmas. Until we get a raise, we're not delivering.
Yeah.
He was proud of fucking over people's Christmas. Also, do you know what some of the money they want for is, and what some of a lot of the Canadian unions put their money towards? Hamas. No.
Wow.
It's not funny. They support terrorism.
I know we are a joke. That's why I'm laughing, and a very bad joke. Like nobody can take Canada seriously.
And what was they wanted time off for having trans surgery, and they wanted Canada Post to pay for them to have trans surgery. No, they get what they deserve. They're losing their jobs, even if they get they're closing down post offices. At some post offices, even though they're not closing, they're closing door-to-door delivery, which they already did by having the community boxes, but some aren't. You're gonna have to go to the post office to claim it, and people already have that in certain areas because they haven't fixed since they put up the community mailboxes.
And see, the thing
Canada
too,
Post
you
is a complete sham, is a complete garbage from what it used to be.
No, see, Mandel, you also have this issue too, whether it's not changed, because in the U.S., the reason why unionized jobs roughly vanished, and it's mostly due to it takes and I remember this a long time ago, it's maybe still similar. You need an X amount of active workers at a company to pay for one pensioner. Like when you hear firefighters at one point were talking about, our pension funds are in danger of people. It takes 10, 15 active workers to pay for that one retiree's pension person.
Do you know the real reason why the unions were cut down in the States?
What's the real, you think?
Because they were cutting back on because they were putting up their put downs on mafias. Because they were run by mafias, a lot of the unions.
That's part of it. Unions, but the same way.
You want proof of that still going on. Remember the big strike, was it shortly after, I think?
Teamsters always been a thing, though. They're not what they used to
be. It was one of the recent one that they threatened to shut down the whole country, the ones at the dock workers. Remember that one? And the union head actually has kind of the accent. He lives in this fancy house and everything, and you could tell it was a scam.
I mean, striking. See, but the thing in the U.S. why we lost a lot of our unions was we went to when our manufacturing sector shrunk. It was largely I can't think of the term right now. It's not the consuming, but it's the
production.
You go from a manufacturing. It's another. It's like a commercial sector style where you're not. I can't think of the name of it. It's basically one because usually manufacturing jobs or government jobs are unionized. But when you look at certain jobs that are just right to work, like an office job or what are marketing jobs, business jobs, those don't require unions, basically. So the idea is if something is in basically a manufacturing or something like that, you're going to have a union unless you're at the post office. We still deal with in the U.S., our mail, the U.S. post office, largely has its own budget and funded. We still have it. we have a national. Basically, Amtrak is a nationalized. Basically for us now, but unofficially, but we own Amtrak as a nation resource. Largely now in the US we do not talk about like pilots and like we've lent so much money to the airline industry. The government's basically bailed it out more than once. But those still have unions attached to it. But we require, what's funny is we require our aircraft controllers to retire after 20 years. And it's mostly for age, it's mostly for good reason. Because
and then it got worse with the DEI, and then because
that was bad.
Because the problem is, part of it is, I don't know, like aircraft controllers, like people don't get it. Like, now, Reagan did do the 20-year thing in the 80s, but the problem is not a lot of new people went into it. Basically, it's like directing traffic, but on a large scale that planes are barely missing each other by like maybe 100 feet.
So let's hear about the last 30 seconds of that liberal liar.
And it's an institution at this time that needs saving. It is losing $10 million a day. It needs to modernize. This is why we're taking the steps, making sure that we
How
provide
do you do
service
modernization
all across the country.
when
Thank
you
you,
don't
Mr.
have the money?
That's kind of shocking. For once, a liberal sound like a conservative because he wants to cut and have some more money. That's hilarious. The
no, but the
there.
liberals want more money for their own.
This
money that could be going in their pockets is going into something that's
Oral
losing the
questions,
money.
questions orales. The honourable leader of the opposition.
Well, you have to move around money.
Monsieur le Président.
So let me say this too before you continue. In the U.S., you have to move around money. That's why we lost FEMA money. Like last year. See, okay, when under Biden's administration, when Multi doesn't know this, but you know this, Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
Explain this to your audience as well. The idea is Biden was moving around the migrants and immigrants coming over the border by taking from emergency relief funds. So by the time we had bad hurricanes, DHS and other people could not pay for the relief on the hurricanes. Like the one that hit Florida, went up to South Carolina, and all of that damage.
And wait, what's the big name of the organization that was supposed to handle it?
Not DHS.
No,
FEMA.
FEMA, that's it.
They were using FEMA funds to move around the basically migrants and house them in hotels.
And move them around and bus them around.
And so the idea is your government has to do that too, because you're cutting from one area to move it to another. That's kind of what happens in governments for the most part. You're just cutting. Now, like the Biden administration didn't think they would be caught doing this, but they also didn't take into account a major hurricane was going to slam through the South. So it caused a very big kerfuffle for a little bit. Because when you take those emergency funds out of the FEMA funds, you're supposed to refill them. And you didn't. So,
and FEMA fucked up doubly bad because then they were also caught by refusing to give help to those with Trump signs.
And DHS and other people who help move around. See, Canada has the issue of you're trying to cut money to do stuff. But to modernize an industry, you need extra money. We're not talking replacing infrastructure. So usually when you hear an infrastructure bill, unless you're replacing old copper pipes or utilities that haven't been up to code, that's usually code for pork barrel spending, to be honest. By U.S. standards, that's usually when you hear it. Even though we do have infrastructure that does need updating. But for the most part, that's pork barrel spending
Well,
to
and
pay
that's-
off somebody.
And that's the current related to the current shutdown is they want to cut out all that bullshit. And no, they want it to go to where it's not supposed to be going.
Well, my favorite part is, by the way, is one of the things people really needed to work on for years was you remember that sewage backup up in the Great Lakes region, or Flint was like Flint, one of them, where the plane just did the backlog sewage thing into the river, and they needed to replace it. That was in a Democrat-controlled area, and the Democrats kept cutting the spending to it, to not to repair it. So we do have areas that are like plants and roads and that need fixing.
Was found
for real.
in Saint-Jérôme. She was killed by a man who had previously been arrested 30 times, but set free by liberal laws. And
I
that's
should
not
be
all.
laughing, but that's
a 6-year-old
ridiculous.
child was found with a crack pipe in their mouth near the Benoît Larbre Center, where the federal government gives a permit for the use of illegal drugs.
So this is not just a U.S. issue or a U.K. issue.
Will this
No,
government
it's
recognize
also a
that
Canada
liberal
issue, buddy.
legislation is threatening our
Canada
children,
is a joke.
women, and all
As
citizens?
I said,
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mark Carney's trying to turn Canada into UK. He's working to partner with them more and
Mr. Speaker.
bypassing the US.
All my sympathies.
He wants
the
to
families,
introduce censorship
friends,
laws.
community members.
During the process of doing
in the
that, they're
cases
also
that my colleague
digital
just
currency, and they're trying to do the same thing UK is pushing.
we recognize that we must strengthen legislation
He's not done fucking them up either.
regarding bail. There will be comprehensive legislation that will be tabled in the weeks to come.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, crime victims don't want the Prime Minister's sympathy. They want to know why he's broken his promise. They want to know why liberal bail remains in place, allowing for the same repeat offenders to offend again and again. The body of a woman was found in the last few days in Saint-Jérôme, Quebec, killed by her partner, who had been arrested 30 times before but released on liberal bail. Will the Prime Minister finally scrap liberal bail, or better yet, get out of the way so that we can do the jobs ourselves?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
There's no honor.
Mr. Speaker, this government is bringing forward comprehensive bail reform. This comprehensive
Censorship
bail
laws.
reform is based on extensive consultations with the provinces and territories. It's based on
That's the teaser for
extensive
next week's
discussions
screen.
with law enforcement.
Censorship.
It is based on evidence.
Oh,
It
look,
is not
Gary
based on
Sanger.
cut and paste American bail laws. It's a bail
No,
law
it's
that
going to
will
be
clear tough
different.
on
You
crime
have to
and
have
firm on the rights of
decriminalization.
Canadians.
You know, you see how pathetic that Gary guy looks?
Hold on.
What did you say, Mandalore?
How pathetic Gary looks. The brown thing in the corner.
No, but the thing.
I think he's just glad he's not being hammered down with this stupid gun buyback project.
No, but for real, in the UK, I mean, granted, I don't know if you heard the synagogue attack that was done by literally a Muslim guy, where his first name, Syrian migrant, translates to the word jihadi something.
Yep.
Was already free on SA charges and other like potentially violent crimes. He's the same person who shot up and did the mosque attack in London. You had in the U.S. Now I learned it. And you had the guy in the U.S. that stabbed the Ukrainian immigrant story. If you haven't heard that story, he was released on domestic assault charges and some other, which he should have been probably in jail. Just brutally murdered the girl on the train, and no one stopped it. So, and the funny part in the UK is he was already free on bail too. But his first name translates to jihadi something.
Oh, and the bullshit. What's her name? Who's in charge of everything? Said he wasn't even on our radar, blah, 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 blah. It's like,
oh, right. You were already in jail for a violent crime. Domesticating your sister,
England is the new Palestine. It's the first official Palestine because it is run so poorly.
And Canada
And
is
it's
next,
overtaken.
buddy. It's coming to us.
No, you're going to have
No.
the Indians first.
No, we've got both coming.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
To see the Prime Minister rant and rave and point his finger at police after they have been crying out for this government to scrap Liberal bail for years. We have Constable Greg Pershella, who was killed by a man released yet again on bail. We have a woman killed by her husband after he was arrested and released 30 times because of Liberal laws. We have 1,600 crimes every single day in this country because of the Liberal laws. Will he stop screaming, hollering, and jabbing his finger and scrap Liberal bail?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
You don't have
Mr.
the ability to keep them jailed.
Mr. Speaker, this government, which has been in place for 6 months, has
And 10 years.
comprehensive
Consultation
consultations
level.
with law enforcement, with the provinces, based on evidence, is bringing forward the toughest bail legislation and sentencing legislation.
Jail for
that
speaking out
will
against the
work,
government.
not one imported from the United States.
No, imported
The
from
Honourable Leader
UK,
of the
right?
Opposition.
The government wants any proof that it's been in place for 10 years. The Justice Minister that Prime Minister named is the guy who ruined our immigration system, and then he went on to ruin our housing system. And now, 6 months after this Prime Minister looked Canadians in the eye and promised to scrap Liberal bail, that bail is still in place, and every day, violent repeat offenders are released on our streets, massacring our people. Will the Prime Minister stop making excuses? They've had 10 years. He's had 6 months. Canadians cannot afford to wait anymore. When will he scrap Liberal bail?
The harm reduction policy and that is entirely different. That's
Mr.
the big
Speaker,
government.
I am heartened by the knowledge that the members opposite will be supporting comprehensive bail reform when it is brought forward in a few weeks before this House. Bail reform that works, bail reform that's tough on crime, bail reform that is
You want
consistent
bail
with the
reform
Charter
that's
of
tough on
Rights
crime?
and
No more bail.
The Honourable Leader of
No,
the Opposition.
that's kind of a double-edged
This
sword
government's
because you're
bail
just
laws
throwing
violate the
them.
charter
Oh, yeah.
rights of
You
1,600
can't-
certain
people
crimes,
every
there's-
single day. Their
That's why
names
harm
are
reduction
victims.
logic doesn't work.
No, you need to have certain crimes, no bail.
So in the U.S., so like take New York. See, Chicago can turn and burn people because you can't. Let's say it's gun crime or something. Let's say New York, they have like the no bail. They'll say, "Oh, if it's a low misdemeanor, keep them around, or let them go, so you can keep the more violent people away." But the issue is harm reduction fallacy. Now, harm reduction usually applies to drugs, but a lot of liberal people have inadvertently used it to fix other sections. You see it in Canada, you'll see it in Portland, and you'll see it in other areas. Part of in the bail reform is, oh, you don't want people stuck in jail for 6+ months or so waiting for a case or something because they got caught with, like, let's say an ounce or two or a pound of pot, something like that. The idea is, and you guys are proposing a 3-strike law. Now, most three-strike laws are out in the U.S. because inadvertently that is a whole set of problems. Unless it's 3 straight violent laws, you consider life imprisonment, which I do not know if Canada is ready. Like, I don't know what your prison system looks like. I don't know what your jails look like. Because the idea is, let's assume you can't store a criminal for 3 to 6 months for a trial. That's a different story. Now, if it's a violent person you need to keep locked away, now do you start ranking crimes? No. But then again, bail or low-end bail, let's say people still need to work. I mean, this is why bail policy, like even New York, a very liberal area, not quite as progressive as Chicago or even California, there were people turning and burning and getting out because they know if it's a crime, they get out and those cases just stack up. But they're doing it on petty charges, not large charges. That's why I said harm reduction combined with actually carrying on bail so people aren't just rotting in jails for like 6 months waiting on a charge to resolve, because I'm assuming your charters and your government has speedy trials. So
not really, it's very slow here.
If you want a good idea of our prison system, look at your state, your average blue state jail system. That's pretty much what we have.
Do your city jails hold enough to hold people for 3 months or till trial?
No, they let them out for the most part, especially. Whoa, did you not hear about the guy who was caught with a fuck ton of porn? With child porn?
I mean,
they let him off. They let him off with a slap on the wrist because he was an immigrant and it might affect his immigration status.
This is how bad Canada has become.
I mean, no. To be honest, every area is slightly different. Like some people are lighter on those people in turn, but they'll have heavy monitoring. I mean, hell, even to this day, it's funny how they take the Japanese. The Japanese deplore violent crime. If you commit a violent crime, they bury you underneath the prison. But there's people who get caught maybe on SA and CP charges, and you would be surprised how many people in the anime industry have that, and it's just like a very high risk probation. But that's in Japan. Now in the US, it just depends on the offense of it. Now that's usually other parts, but I've heard charges in the UK recently because some of their migrants are getting caught with stuff too. I think you're seeing both SA and CP charges.
We have some kind of BS here.
They
if
get
you're
away
immigrant,
with so
you
much.
can get away with anything.
It's a two-tier system. It's just like it's,
that's the issue. Yes, two-tier justice system.
It's like we're not even as close to your blue states as we are close to the UK, where minorities get off scot-free.
People who get hit over the head with baseball bats, who get robbed, who have their children violated in what should be the safety of their own houses. We have a 3-year-old who was raped by a repeat offender out on liberal release. We have a constable shot to death by someone out on liberal release. And now we have a woman murdered by her own partner who was out on liberal release. How many have to die before he gets rid of liberal bail?
The Right Honorable Prime Minister.
You know, to throw the joke at, there is no higher rates of
Mr. Speaker, this government is taking measures
He's getting
against
doomed.
crime. We are tightening our borders. We are reinforcing the number of RCMP. we are introducing in the next few weeks the most comprehensive bail reforms and toughening the sentencing laws. Bail reform that
I'll wait to
will
see it
work.
when you guys do it.
Bail reform that will
In the U.S.
Bail reform
You're like
that is
that.
copied
I like
from
it.
I
Labor
hear that in the
to
U.S. And they never
The Honourable
proposed
Leader of the
that shit.
Opposition.
They already brought in a bail reform. That is the bail reform that allows the same offenders to be released 150 times a year. His justice minister voted to allow repeat offenders, violent sex offenders, to do their sentences in their living room. That is their policy. We have a bill before the House today that we could pass through all stages right now if the Prime Minister didn't care about who got the credit. Will he put aside partisanship and grandstanding and join with us to scrap Liberal bail, save lives for Canadians, or will he just get out of the way?
The right honourable
That is
Prime
easy as it
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms won't just get out of the way as the member opposite wishes.
Oh yeah.
What this country needs.
Each time I hear that bullshit coming from a liberal, I will remind them of Justin Trudeau, the Emergency Act, or even in more recent memory, the freaking Air Canada, the fiasco that happens. So when these liberals bring back the Charter of Rights, I laugh. Any thoughts, Mandalore? You know both case. Do you really think the liberals are the Charter of Law
The
party?
Charter of Rights is nothing but toilet paper that they can use to block things that they don't want to do. Other than that, when it's against the people, they have no problem ignoring it.
What this country needs, what those victims deserve, what all Canadians deserve is bail reform and sentencing laws that work. That is what this government is bringing forward. We invite the members opposite. We share the same objectives. We invite the members opposite to join us in swift passage of the government's bail reform.
That's just good propaganda. To make the other side look like shit.
The honourable member for Saint-Jean.
It's a
Mr.
trap.
Speaker, a week ago, the Minister for Government Transformation announced the end of postal service as we know it. For example, the end of home delivery and the closure of postal offices. So, of course, there's been a general strike from Canada Post because the announcement was literally the end of their work. And the result
And
is
whose
that passports are
fucking
stuck
fault
at
is
postal
that?
offices. Checks aren't being...
Like, they're acting like this was just thrown at them for no reason, like, we're doing our best. You guys keep on going on strike. You guys keep demanding more money for less work and more benefits.
I
sent out,
mean,
and
that's
some
the issue
elections
with
might have to be
unions.
delayed.
I was asked for more. And they
What
do
did the
less.
Prime Minister expect from this? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this is the current situation. Canada Post is no longer viable.
It has been for years.
Every day it loses $10 million.
Just because an industry is insolvent,
We need
5 years
reforms.
ago doesn't change fucking the day.
We need to implement the policies detailed in the report, and we need an agreement between the corporation and the unions. The Honourable Member, Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are so
Okay, so we'll move on to the ending of that one. 'Cause I
Okay,
want
so
to
see,
hear
here's
the
the
NDP eating them alive.
Here's a funny thing about this. So what's going to happen is the postal union wants more money because you're in areas you're still going to have rural mail because not everyone's going to take the 5-mile trek to town or something to go to the damn post office.
Yeah.
And the thing to it is as well, union, and this is what happened. It happened in the U.S. Oh, teachers unions want more money, right? then the post office unions want more money federally. What? It's not like you're talking a wage increase, right? It's like, you both are equally important, but we still have to have a budget. And as I said, if something was insolvent 5 years ago, bleeding a little bit money here and there, that's like a drippy faucet that doesn't get better. Eventually, that debt, you're still becoming a net loss, and you still have to make money somewhere else. So let me get this straight. Canada, your Canadian mail fell apart because their debt, their operating budgets probably went bloated, and they wanted more wages with less income potential because they wanted to maintain their cost of living.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it comes at the cost of something else, not realizing they're already running at a deficit.
Oh yeah, and they didn't want to deliver mail. They don't want to deliver mail on Saturday. Like they've had to catch up with Amazon and all the other delivery companies that will deliver
And they
on
still
Saturdays.
and I bet they still want their pensions fucking too.
Oh, they want everything, and they want to do less work. They don't want to work on weekends. When they were doing the negotiating back during Christmas, they were upset that they were given something on a Friday because they'd have to read it over their weekend, and they didn't want to do that. It's like, what are you doing? You're striking. You're not working right now. They were upset that they had to read something either on their evenings or on their weekends, that they had to read the new suggestions. Like, they are lazy fuckers. Like, they don't care.
Okay, technically, most governments don't work on weekends, but anything outside of emergency mail, federally, I could get not working on a Saturday. Potentially. Like in the U.S., mail doesn't run on a Sunday.
No.
Holiday.
Well, no. But here's the thing. With Amazon and all them, there's new companies like DHL doesn't always deliver to
Yeah,
you.
DHL's been here for a while. Your USPS isn't competing. The reason why we have FedEx and UPS and DHL and all these other places is because it's an alternative, but you still have federal mail, which is like Monday through whatever.
But they used to hand off to Canada Post to deliver to my area. Oh, they've got a new company that they deal with. More companies are finding because they're striking so often, and they're doing it at the worst times, and it's hurting small businesses. That so many small businesses are making things cheap and shipping them out and getting things, cheap products from like China to build stuff to ship out, that it's destroying them. So they've had to go with alternate routes, and sometimes they pay a little bit more. Sometimes they've actually worked out newer contracts with companies and been saving money, and they realize, oh shit, we don't need Canada Post. We can get our mail delivered on this weekend. We get it faster, we get it better, and it goes direct. And every time they do this, more people switch over, that they don't wait for the resolve. And they don't
It's just a dying corporation. I cannot wait for it to be buried. I'm so tired. So let's play the ending. We will catch up the ending.
It's a break
soon.
at the grocery store.
The Honorable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, Tobic Mactaquac is home to McCain Foods, one of the great Canadian food companies. And whether you're from Johnville or Bristol or Heartland or Woodstock, you have a lot of sense and you know this. There is no tax on food at the grocery store. He knows it. They know it.
There's just
Be
taxes
common
for
sense
the
in the St. John
province.
River Valley, and we'll keep talking to them and doing stuff for them, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable member. The honorable member for.
What did you say, Mandalore?
Lying that there's no taxes on food, especially sweets and stuff. There's taxes on. Also, how many Canadian companies are moving to the fucking U.S.
Because there's too many tax.
Exactly.
I mean, the moving. I mean, you probably. I don't know if you have a consumption effect or anything, where. What's funny is when they say there's not a specific tax,
There are
I
at
bet-
least 4 I can tell.
I bet when you go to the grocery store, it's like, see, in the U.S., or where if I go to my city, we have city and county taxes, right? When you go to your grocery store, I'm pretty sure you got city taxes, whatever.
It's provincial.
Your
Provincial business
other,
services.
yeah, look at your receipt where you see your taxes go. And that's just, and they go, but we don't have a particular tax. And you cannot tell me. Okay, Mandalore, do you have a VAT tax up there? Value added tax?
I've seen the VAT tax. I don't remember what I've seen it on. It's not on everything.
So you can answer that earlier. You would probably know. Yeah, see, this is the thing. They go, we don't tax stuff, but when you look at your bill, there's still probably 3 or 4 layers of taxes on whatever you're purchasing.
That's true.
Vancouver East.
The Parliamentary Secretary to Combating Crime posted on X, and I quote, "On behalf of the Government of Canada, I am announcing that on the advice of our officials, we have deemed the group NECAP ineligible to enter our country. Can the Minister advise if the Parliamentary Secretary was authorized to make this announcement? If yes, who authorized it? Was it the Minister, department officials, or the Prime Minister's office? If no one authorized it, can the Minister advise what follow action will be taken to address this serious misrepresentation of authority? Canadians deserve to know."
Honorable Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Persons seeking to come to Canada must meet eligibility and admissibility requirements of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. Each case is assessed individually. Entry to Canada may be refused for a number of reasons. An individual whose electronic travel application has been declined can reapply by doing an ETA once they've addressed the reasons that it has been refused. IRCC cannot comment on individual cases. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And following up with the Honourable
for
Minister,
fuck's sake.
this story has made a lot of waves in media. It doesn't seem at all clear that there is evidence that the band NECAP was deemed ineligible by the department. So since the minister can't discuss any individual case, can she please confirm whether or not any authorized entity within the Canadian government refused entry to the Irish band NECAP, or whether it was just one rogue MP?
Okay, I admit I like that one. I don't like this name, but I mean, she got it on the end, right? That's like a perfect headshot, isn't it?
Nah, she's just drunk and got some words together correctly. I don't give her any credit for anything.
I mean, okay. The problem is, what are you guys gonna do? Okay. Do you remember when the Syrian civil war started and everyone with ISIS and all that mess? They were all fleeing. So when they come to Europe, see, I know this more because it's stuff I follow, and I've also talked with Sorter, who I stream with as well. He comes into mind. The first thing they dump when they get like towards over there is their identification documents. So you have no idea if this is a John, a Doe, a John, a Bob, whatever else. They have no track record when they go from country to country. And this has been plaguing Europe, so you don't know if you're taking in somebody who's had the application denied. And they will shop repeatedly or change, and there's no system. So everyone's like, oh, they could easily come to Canada with a different identity unless you have a way to track them. And they'll go, yes, I agree. You should have a refugee status, and it should be.
You're overcomplicating things. There's people, especially Indians, who've come to this country recently, who are wanted criminals in India, for terrorist
But they
attack,
get their visa.
and they invite them in with no issues. And
Yeah.
they give their identification. So it's not that they change their IDs.
Their
it's that
identification versus dump it.
But they're not even They're not even checking. They're just Canada wants to be like, oh, we're welcoming to everyone. They don't give a shit if you're not white. You could pretty much get in with a dead child hanging off of you. It's disgusting.
Why did you guys not want all our liberals who wanted to flee from the orange tyrant?
Because we already have a bunch of liberal retards here. We don't need more.
It's a joke, by the way. In our elections, all these liberals were like, if Trump wins, I'm gonna go to Canada or another. And then they tried to apply and some got up there. It's like,
well, there were so many who showed videos of it. And the funny ones were the people who did it and then they were sent back because they came in wrong. They didn't come in the proper way. And they're like, well, I thought you can't just move to another country by choice. You have to apply there as well, and you have to be able to to move to the States. You need to be able to buy land. You need to be able to show that you can produce and that you can earn, and that you're not going to be a drain. Even in places like Mexico and stuff that you wouldn't think, they are horrible. You have to show them that you can make them money, and not just there to take money. And that's how a lot of places are, and they're finding it out going, oh, and then they could cry going, well, U.S. sucks, it's so horrible, it's so evil, and then they go to other countries and it's all the same.
you can't just hop the border and go
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As I said, we assess each case on a case-by-case basis. Anyone who wishes to enter Canada must meet the conditions of the Immigration Act.
So you
There's
can't be
also
white.
an electronic travel authorization request. It was refused.
What about
and
all those
another,
Chinese spies and the
request may be
Chinese immigrants that
presented
come
after
up
explaining
with
the
Chinese,
reasons.
they're
I cannot comment on individual
Yeah,
cases. Thank
CCP,
you.
they have a special warrant to come here. Like,
Brings question period to an end. It was a bit noisy today.
Sorry.
Oral questions, questions orales, the official opposition chief whip.
Before the election, the Prime Minister said that it was elbows up. That was his solution to save Canadian jobs. After the election, it was elbows down. And since then, he's been flying all around. He met with the Chinese and raised and after that meeting, they raised tariffs on Canadian farmers and seafood. He met with the Americans.
Yes, they
and
did.
after that meeting, they raised tariffs on
But that was an
Canadian lumber. He met with the
inadvertent
British and
attack
they said, no,
on
they're not
something
dropping the
else 'cause they
tariffs on
couldn't
Canadian
raise it
beef.
on
He's elbows
Europe.
up, elbows down. He's flying all around and it's
Canada
cost
cuts
86,000 Canadians their jobs. Everywhere he goes, things get worse. When will the Prime Minister just stop? Park the jet before he costs more Canadians jobs.
The government House Leader.
well, I will be honest. I remember
Speaker,
this
idea
question
that the
period.
Prime
It's a
Minister
bloodbath.
is flying around the world without bringing back to Canada productive results is a ludicrous one. We've signed landmark agreements in Europe. We've signed landmark agreements in Asia. We've gone to Mexico, signed landmark agreements with the administration there. This Prime Minister is active.
All countries who can't give us what the U.S. can give us.
Markets. He's out there
No,
building
actually,
opportunities for Canadians.
he did
He's
go to
building
Mexico
Canada strong, Mr.
because
Speaker.
we still have manufacturing. Even the
The Prime
U.S.
Minister
were the
promised that
first
he was going to
both
fix
the
the
North and
disaster
South
that
as
Justin
far as
Trudeau
manufacturing.
No,
left. But
it's ridiculous. He's trying to bypass America and stuff, and he's like, we need America. Without America, we're fucked.
That's true. 100% true.
86,000 Canadians have lost their jobs since this Prime Minister took office. Just this last week, 900 Calgarians lost their job at Imperial Oil. 300 jobs are threatened at Cap Paper, and GM has announced that it's moving jobs from Oshawa back to the United States. This Prime Minister was elbows up, elbows down, flying all around. This guy promised that he was going to be different than Justin Trudeau, but just like Trudeau, he's been jet-setting, talking to fancy people, taking care of his Liberal friends, while Canadians are losing their jobs. Why won't this guy admit that he's just like Justin Trudeau, just another Liberal?
And they keep cutting him off.
Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
cutting
It's for the exact reason that we are doing the work
That's the
of going
second
around
time.
the world to
What the
attract
fuck is
new
that?
investment and to do these
I asked him
deals
on
that are
another
always gonna stand on
stream
the
I
side of
saw
Canadian
on
workers
the
and
other
Canadian
stream.
employers. That's why we
I
put
asked
together
what
one of the
the
most
fuck this
comprehensive
was.
response funds with a strategic response fund of $5 billion. We will
It's
always
not
be there
for
for
somebody,
Canadian
folks.
workers and Canadian businesses.
She looks so bored, you freaking chicks.
As impossible
I'm
as
not
it may
talking
seem,
about her.
things
I'm
are
talking about
worse
him.
under this prime
I
minister
know.
than they were under
He
Justin
looks like
Trudeau. And while
Beaker
those
or
connected to the prime minister, his corporate buddies, liberal connected insiders, and lobbyists are doing just fine, 86,000 Canadians have lost their jobs since he became the prime minister. Canada now has the second highest unemployment rate in the G7.
But
Our
Indians
productivity
have
as a
all the
country
jobs, and
is
they're
nearing
paying
developing nation
Indians to
status.
come here
Why are the
for
policies of
apparently
the prime
jobs that
minister designed
Canadians
to
can't and
benefit
won't
his
do.
corporate buddies and liberal insiders while Canadians pay the price?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Minister of Health announced that now 5 million
she's
Canadians
retarded
are
as
getting
fuck.
affordable dental care in this country. And in my own riding, I just want
Oh.
to tell you the story of one individual I met just before the last election. In fact, he had
She
just
breathes
had
like
his
she lies,
teeth
and
fixed
she
after
lies
20
like she
years
breathes.
of not having a plan. This fully employed worker did not have benefits that could provide for him to have oral health. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? What he said to me is, I sure hope you win again so that I can get my lower teeth fixed. And that's exactly what we did for this man, Mr. Speaker.
But now he has no job to pay for food.
And they're also checking
That's
the stock
true.
price of Brookfield-related companies. Nearly $60 billion in investment has fled the country, mostly to the place where the Prime Minister has 93% of his investments in the United States. He promised he would handle Trump and negotiate a win by July 16th. Then it was July 21st, then August 1st. It's October 3rd. He promised strength but has shown weakness. Oshawa,
Elbows up,
Kapuskasing, and
retards.
Calgary have all been devastated with job losses this week. How many more families need to lose their jobs and businesses close before the Prime Minister wakes up to the reality that what he's doing isn't working?
It will need to be voted out.
Mr. Speaker, I would simply point out to the member of Canada's economy continues to grow, wages
And
continue
shrink.
to grow, interest rates
I
are
wanna
down,
know what drugs
and
he's
this
on.
Prime Minister is creating
When
opportunities
interest
for
rate
Canadians.
goes down, it's
in
because we cannot pay it back, and they want some money, so they have no choice to reduce
How's
it.
our
It's bad.
economy? Whoa, how's our economy doing good when all the businesses are leaving because it's so bad? Everyone's unemployed. All the big businesses are leaving. But everything's great. Nothing to see here. Yeah.
No, I told Multi he didn't realize you guys have about 110% of your GDP to his debt.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Mandalorian, you know how paralyzing that is? If you get a credit down rating, you are fucked.
We are getting that credit down.
And they're
Miss
spending more. They're
Sparkle.
sending more to Ukraine.
No. Well, the thing about it is, I want to say it's the nationalism. So in the U.S., as I
So
said,
I will address Miss Sparkle. Sorry to cut you off. I think another 20 to 30 minutes because this is the last question period we are covering. So 20 to 30 minutes. But keep going.
So
Dragon.
the thing is, what you're seeing right now is, jokes aside about the WEF, the WEF is a World Economic Forum that works with the IMF as well. They're trying to do the Belt. See, China has a Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative is what China uses to get into nations, and they basically either strip mine nations or... See, they're heavily invested in like areas like Africa, or since the U.S. doesn't want your oil, they want it. And then they cart it back off to their country. Belt and Road, and WEF was basically their main purpose is to actually be the Western equivalent, but to protect Western interests. Now, but they're still largely globalist. Now, what you're seeing in the U.S., why our liberals are collapsing, is because nationalism is on the term of what? We're going from a globalist view to a nationalist view, meaning what is your nation and your national identity. Canada still is probably in that globalist versus nationalist idea, if that makes sense. Because the problem with the globalist sees interconnectivity. The nationalist largely sees what can you do in your home area to benefit yourself and bring it back up. Globalism requires basically a bunch of nations working together, but it interlocks their economy. A nationalistic economy in growth comes from the growth of using the resources you have at home. And Canada is still in the globalist mindset. In the US, we're finally starting to get out of it, but we're still going to have industries that are still globalist. That, I hope I understand.
Export markets, and is creating opportunities for Canadians here at home. We're going to be building major projects. We're going to be building them with Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum, Canadian lumber, with Canadian skilled trades, men and women, Mr. Speaker.
And
this
Chinese
Prime Minister
boats.
is on the job, on the economy. The Conservatives
Chinese
need to wake up to
boats.
that.
L'honorable député de Louis Saint-Laurent à Kawinrak.
The honourable member for Louis Saint-Laurent à Kawinrak. Well, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said that he would have a winning agreement with the U.S. by July 21st, but that didn't happen. Then he said he would do it by August 1st. That didn't work either. All of these promises failed, and the result is that today, 86,000 Canadians have lost their jobs. Is this because of the Prime Minister's diplomatic failures or because of his job-killing economic policies? The Honourable Government House Leader. Well, Mr. Speaker, Canadians have just chosen a Prime Minister and government that they felt were the best to stand up
It was a
for
rigged
Canada.
election. It was
And we have
complete
announced agreements
bullshit.
with Europe, with Asia, with Mexico. And yes, the Prime Minister will be visiting Washington
These
next
are
week
all deals on paper. They're not
in order
translating
to
to
continue
reality.
the difficult
Yet.
negotiation
You
process
need
with the
3 to
U.S.
6 months in solid jobs.
And I know that Canadians
Even
have
in
placed
the
their trust
US,
in our Prime Minister.
And the U.S. is our best
The honourable
market.
member.
Yes.
Well, all right, let's talk about the Prime Minister indeed. He was elected 6 months ago, saying elbows up. But what happened when he went to the White House? It was elbows down and thumbs up to Mr. Trump. And now, things have
More
gotten
like a
even
thumb up
worse,
his
Mr.
asshole.
Speaker. The reality is that Canadians were scanned by this Prime Minister who said elbows up. Tariffs have doubled since this Prime Minister has been here. 86,000 jobs have been lost. That's what's happened to Canadians. Will this government finally wake up and help Canadian workers? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind my honourable colleague that out of all the countries in the world,
Oh, look, it's
it
the
is Canada that has
eco-terrorist.
the best agreement and the lowest tariffs for the
I
US.
knew you'd say that.
86% of our economy is exempt.
So the context, the Lord, that guy there, he was a Greenpeace extremist activist, and he did some prison time for some criminal activities. I don't know what exactly, but I've seen him in a
an
orange jumpsuit.
activist. I'm going to say this: an activist is might be a person's criminal, but to certain people, they'll become very much their hero. So, I mean, I can understand he
No. They put him in charge of the environment.
But he was indeed in jail at some point.
But
Was he an environmental activist before?
But no, and it turns out that a bunch of the forest fires that happened not long ago were his fault. He apparently stole a lot of money. There was supposed to be a lot of brush cleaned up, which he never did. A lot of it was arson. It wasn't actually environment. He will burn down the country to say that he's one of those terrorists.
So, fun fact, by the way, you know why California and California is a really good example of this? when they're like have wildfires. Now, traditionally, wildfires in like areas usually aren't bad because you can do controlled burns for about 10 years plus. So the reason I know this is I used to game with a person and his friend that were volunteer firefighters. And I was like, you're not cleaning up brush. And this was about 10, 15 years ago. They started doing the policy of you can't remove dead brush or cut down trees and stuff. So the reason why California has some bad wildfires is because they don't do that. So if lightning randomly strikes a tree or something, which causes most wildfires, or some environmental thing, wildfires are shit. And didn't Canada have, like, recently this year, a wildfire that sent so much smog down to the Great Lakes? We were suffering.
Oh yeah, I had people in the States who were complaining about that they were having trouble breathing because
We're like, because your wildfires, there was like 2.
Oh, they
From
were
U.S. tariffs.
It was
Canadians
hilarious.
who are watching today know that the situation with the U.S. is currently complex, but that nonetheless, we are the country that is doing best. Every month since the beginning of
How
the
do
year,
you create jobs?
Canadian salaries have increased faster than the cost of living. The Prime
Whoa,
Minister is the person
whoa,
who's
pause.
weighing
Bullshit!
Look
I can
at
tell
that
you
lie.
Okay, the price of
This
Canadian
is
jobs
next
has
level
gone up. No,
gaslight.
there's some fact behind it, because places like Tim Hortons and all these that are paid to take immigrants in, they're only supposed to do it for jobs that they can't find anyone who will or can do it locally. That's why all Tim Hortons, and that's one of the reasons everyone's sort of bailing on Tim Hortons, is because they're paying them a lot of money to come do jobs that most teens used to do. And same thing with fast food. And
The
yeah,
honourable
so
member
they're
for
getting paid
Gaspé.
more money for a bullshit reason. Like, it is
What
disgusting.
is? Did they increase the men's?
They increased immigration.
No, did they increase the minimum wage to, like, say, because even in the U.S.,
it increases every year by like
okay,
10
even in
cents,
the
25
U.S.,
cents.
a high schooler that
Winning. Yeah.
even if
Winning.
I like your background.
even if a high
Charlie Street.
schooler
Winning.
even if a high schooler starts working at a Chick-fil-A around me, they're making $12, $13.
Meghan Markle did not work at a yogurt shop at age 14. Wait, what are we talking about? Sorry.
We are doing question period, and we are talking about wages.
So,
right
like,
now.
they're the idea they want fast food, you want a living wage. There's people like where I'm in, like, let's say a high schooler starts working at a Chick-fil-A. They're
Okay.
getting paid $12, $13 an hour to work there.
It's
And
like
they still
almost
get
20
insurance.
here.
Well,
Here
yeah, you get
it's $16 an hour, the minimum wage.
And I learned something. You can make a livable wage working fast food, but you have to work there for years, do the hours, and get promoted up. I was doing it. It was just a stress that almost killed me.
Oh, hey, Darth Mendler, how are you? Haven't seen you in
Tired.
forever. Are you okay?
Been better.
Aw.
He's depressed because he knows the liberals is destroying our country.
Is that the only reason you're depressed? I hope not.
Mr. Speaker,
No, they're moving
we
forward with the
have
Ray movie.
catastrophic news for our forestry industry.
Alexis is the
Donald
woman's
Trump has
name.
just announced further tariffs, further 10% tariffs on our lumber, in addition to the current illegal tariffs of 35%. And on top of that, the Liberals announced some assistance at the beginning of August, but actually that money has never arrived. Unifor is asking the federal government to do something. Their Quebec leader has said, it's an emergency now, not in 2 weeks. When will the federal government finally support our forestry industry?
What are we arguing
The
about now? No more
Honourable
guns?
Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
No, we
Thank you,
are
Mr. Speaker.
talking about lots of things, but no guns this week.
The Minister of Industry and the other ministers are fighting for our workers, including in the softwood lumber sector. We are holding a number of meetings with
do
important
you
stakeholders.
move that lumber
We
to?
have
I have
ensured
no
that we have
idea.
strategic response funds
The
set
Lord.
aside.
Mandalore.
We will be supporting businesses, workers, and we will always stand up
He looks
for
like
our companies and
Beaker.
workers. The honorable member. Mr. Speaker, I hope that the Prime Minister's trip to Washington next week will be more fruitful than his previous ones, because up until now, Canada's negotiating tactics have been so bad that it's easier for European wood to get to the U.S. than Quebec lumber.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
That's what I
the
said.
assistance that
Who
Ottawa
gets that
promised
wood?
has not been sent out.
Oh, and yeah,
Where are you going to move it to?
China.
Where?
The
China?
You gonna
Oh,
ship
yeah,
it
you're
to-
right.
Are you going to
by
ship it to
15%
China?
over the
Ship
summer.
it to elsewhere?
Even
yeah,
for businesses
China.
that do not do business in the U.S., our sawmills are losing money even when they sell internally. When will the federal government finally send this assistance? The Honorable Government House Leader. Indeed, this is a very difficult period for our exporting softwood lumber companies. That's been the case for some time. We think that the tariffs and measures taken by our neighbors to the south are wrong
Can't
and bad
blame the
for
tariffs,
consumers,
but there's government regulation.
American consumers. We
And
will
whose fault
always
is the
stand up for our
tariffs?
forestry sector. In my
You
own
can
region,
blame Trump, but they're his fault.
and in
Mark Carney's.
Pontiac and Maniwaki, workers are being affected. We will always stand up for our workers and for our forestry industry.
And that's true. I agree with you, Mandalore. But hey, the liberals and accountability, they don't mesh well together.
Well, see, the thing is, you need the ability. Here's the problem. You guys are at the point of, see, the reason why we reapplied actual more tariffs to both China and India. So, the funny thing is, they talked about when you guys got hit with that tariff from China?
Well, no one complained about it.
Because earlier, like that funny part is, I was chuckling because that was a backlash from when we put another tariff on China on something they tried to, because the trade imbalance with China is already bad. The funny thing about this is, but they then tariffed you guys in vengeance, not us, which is,
but the problem is they'll bitch about all the tariffs from the States. Oh, they're horrible. Oh, they're crushing us. It's not and nothing we could have done. All we had to do was lower our tariffs that we currently had on them, which has been high for years. But no.
Part of the reason why we still have high tariffs on both China and India is because Trump put more.
No, but when China tariffed us a stupid high amount, no one complained. No one said China was attacking us or ruining us.
Yeah, and I gotta say, because I have that in mind. Our Marxist Carney in charge really likes China, and
China.
he's like, let's be like China. They do everything right, China. They are
Yeah,
a
that's
very
not
strong
true.
communist country, China. Well, it's how Marxist Carney thinks, and that's why.
It's been since Justin Trudeau when he was having the Chinese army come and train under our Canadian military. It's been going on from the Liberals. It's not just Carney, who's a piece of shit. It's Liberals in general, that they like the China method and they like the UK method, which is a different version currently.
Fascist.
But the thing is, you need to be the first thing that if Carney wanted to, and I don't care who's in charge, insert whatever party is here. What's the first thing Trump did is when he got in office and he was able to, he started doing policies that would create jobs. Manufacturing plants would be like
Too bright and too smart for the banker ear.
So here's the thing, right? Like in the U.S., just take the U.S. as an example. Now, it's going to take a little bit to see those 5 manufacturing chip plants making make the AI chips. They have to come online and they produce money to the economy. Now, the big deal is, if I were Carney and you want to save face, whether you're the liberals coming in, You need to find a way to increase jobs.
You know what his last name reminds me of? Carnival. Carney. Every time I hear his name, I think of a carnival.
Yes, but no.
It's a circus.
Yes.
So the idea is
Marxist Carney likes the circus.
So here's the thing: if the issue is unemployment, he got elected to fix portions of the economy, and you're not creating jobs.
No.
Austerity measures only stem bleeding. You need economic growth.
Well, no, here's the thing: Trump, when he came back into
I'll
office,
show you some economic
he started bringing work back. He started offering benefits to company, offering them more money for working here, better everything. Carney, on the other hand, has put taxed and done so much crap and had tariffs raised so high because he can't negotiate that companies are now going to the States. We're losing businesses.
Which are you losing? Are you losing your manufacturing? Or
We lose everything, buddy.
Automotive.
Are you losing your consumer industry?
No.
We lost like 100,000 jobs in like 3 months.
That sucks.
Our manufacturing plant, I can't remember who, is either leaving or left.
Everyone leaves. We are dying, a dying boat. Like
Isn't that why Quebec wants to separate?
Yeah, well,
Quebec wants to leave forever. It's nothing new that Quebec wants to leave. They're a bunch of retarded French people who sniff their own farts and can't.
We complain about the government, but we always elect most of them.
Oh,
my colleague.
Multi. I turned everyone into a lady, and I did turn you into a lady. I just haven't tagged you yet, just so you know.
Okay.
He is new to the Conservative Party, but he has learned the tricks. That is to say, repeating the same talking points and the same words used by his colleagues. So
that's so
Mr.
hypocrite.
Speaker,
They do
I'd
the
like
exact
to
same. The
tell
Liberals.
him one thing: the party that he has joined for more than a decade, they voted against measures that would help Canadians, whether it be programs for children at schools or other programs. They have always voted against these programs, but here in this chamber we believe that we need to grow the services and help Canadians.
Thanks to Canadians!
Mr. Speaker, as we prepare to mark Veterans Week and Remembrance Day, young Canadians are learning about
I will
valuable
skip that
contributions
liberal.
G7 country imposes this.
Whoa, that suit is something.
Humanitarian aid. By helping young people understand more about who serves and why, we inspire the next generation of service and remembrance.
She's kind of hot in the background.
The honourable member for Lanark Frontenac.
Mr. Speaker, last week I asked why there is still a 35% tariff on Russian fertilizer, when it is clear that this is not causing a net decline in Russian exports nor a fall in the price paid worldwide for Russian product. In Canada, no meaningful displacement of Russian imports with domestic production has taken place, so the result is that Eastern Canadian farmers pay more for imports from third countries, creating a shortage in their markets, which is then filled by full-price product from Russia. No other G7 country imposes this burden on its farmers. Why does the Liberal government continue to do so?
Honourable
Silver bullet, because they're liberals.
Mr. Speaker, I'm
No, it's more.
withhold more severe judgment. The member may well know there is a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. Canada is an important supplier of potash. Canada will continue to be one of the world's most important suppliers of potash, and the member should well know that the only realistic option to fertilize Canadian fertilizer is Russian or Belarusian fertilizer.
He's
Illuminati. Member for Courtney Alberni. Mr. Speaker, farmers have saved and replanted seeds for generations, but this government is proposing changes to plant breeders' rights that threaten this age-old practice. To make matters worse, consultations were scheduled during summer and harvest season when farmers are busiest and least able to respond. Does the Minister of Agriculture support the right of Canada's fruit and vegetable farmers to continue saving and using their own seeds, and will he abandon these reckless and harmful changes? Parliamentary Secretary to Minister of Agriculture.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my colleague for the question. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency is taking a balanced approach after having consulted more than 100 value chain stakeholders for over 4 years.
She's
And
most
following
likely
the
from
release of their
Quebec, that
report
one.
that was called What We Heard Report this summer, the CFIA is
One of your
currently
friend,
engaging
Mandalore.
with
She's from
stakeholders to
Quebec. You like
modernize
her
the
already.
regulation system in Canada with all the input from
She's a man jaw.
stakeholders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Winnipeg
Stakeholders.
Centre.
It's like
Mr.
saying
Speaker,
we
the
are
Liberals continue
freaking
punishing workers for
corporation.
exercising their charter right to fight for fair wages and safe working conditions. How? By abusing Section 107 of Canada's Labour Code, forcing workers back to work. This undermines collective
shut up,
bargaining
Tommy.
and the right
What does
to
that mean?
strike. From Air Canada to Canada Post, railways to ports,
Don't complain.
they
She will
side with
siphon away
big
the Liberal
corporate
vote.
executives. If the Liberals
No,
done
the
with
NDP
workers,
have no
will the
chance in
minister
hell anymore.
repeal Section 107
She's
of the
aggressive.
Canadian Labour Code now?
Minister for Jobs and
I
Families.
bet you she wears
This
leather.
government has supported organized labor in a number of ways, including most recently standing with the Canadian building trades unions as we announced 5 major projects with their full support. We've invested in union training. We've invested
I'm hyper, guys. I'm
in
probably not
union
gonna
supports. We've
be
reversed
too
harmful
helpful.
conservative union busting legislation. Unions know that we're there for them. As the Minister of Labor, I'll work hard to make sure we get the balance right.
And
This brings an end to.
That's it. We what do we think, Mandalore? Is Canada
Smash her passing the Liberian behind her. With the sweater.
Mandalore, are we doomed?
Yes, and you're not quite seeming to grasp it because you keep laughing. I'm not sure you understand most of this. We are
I
really
do.
in a.
I'm
We are
laughing
really
because
in a.
we are circus, buddy.
Also, I was checking out the hot Liberian chick in the sweater behind. Don't be mad at me.
Canada is really in trouble, and we're going further down the drain, and we're hurting ourselves more and more. As we're coming like the UK, we're being taken over by horrendous leaders.
Oh, don't make yourself too
Or
sad.
even
Don't
our
make it
conservative
too
leader
sad.
can't do a fuck. He can't even. He had a chance at winning if it wasn't rigged. He shot himself in the foot by trying to separate too much from the States, which is would have won him if he would have stood strong with the Americans. But no, he had to go, I'm not the Americans, blah, blah, blah. The Liberals weren't going to vote. The NDP weren't going to vote for the Liberals too much. The NDP were done. Like, this was all, it was all bullshit. Our leadership, we need a new conservative leader. I don't know if we have anyone who can do it. The States needs to take us over and help us out. Otherwise, we are going to collapse into like the UK and China combined, where we'll have the legal rights of England with the control of the government like China, and it's just going to be horrendous, and it's not funny. It's scary and depressing.
See, more of the bigger issue itself, I would say, because you're going to start seeing a lot of nations. What's funny about when you start talking about farmers, what people don't get about the farmers and farming in the Russian fertilizer stuff. See, this is where Russia screwed up with the Ukraine conflict. The big thing is that is a very big breadbasket that affected the food going into Europe, but it also affected the flow of fertilizers coming from that part of the world. Majority of some farming, and even in the U.S., which is for most of the states, and probably you guys too, it seems, use Russian fertilizer. That has to either be imported or that. Now, we got lucky and we started doing different. But yeah, it wasn't as good, but we are changing it. Now, realistically, the idea is that conflict. Right here. But no, the idea is when you hear the Russian fertilizer thing, it's not because. It's because if you're not producing your own fertilizer, you're importing it. And we've been doing it since the Ukraine conflict. U.S. has been able to make some ourselves, but the big deal is as well, unless you want to get it from portions from us, or you're still getting it from the Russians, but it's just very heavy.
Lilith is from somewhere over there. I forgot where she's from, but yeah, she has a lot of opinions on this type of
The
stuff.
problem is Canada could be doing it
Thank you for
themselves.
joining, Lilith. So, Miss Sparkle, you are an American. How do you view Canada?
She's from Portland. So much over.
Be gross, be violent,
Seattle,
be
Washington.
brutal.
All
right.
Like, what do you mean? What do you want to know?
Like, be honest, brutally honest. How do you view Canada right now?
I feel like there's a lot of like willful ignorance going on. Like, I feel like people just because they hate Trump are letting that blind them. And then I think you guys need to I don't
Be
know,
honest.
focus on stuff that's more important than what you guys are actually focusing. I don't know.
I agree with what you said. You see, this is coming from an American. This is how she views us. We are no longer the nice guys.
Yeah, true.
As I said, in-stage liberalism. In-stage liberalism is bad.
Horrible lately. Have you seen how short fat taco Dev is being lately? Oh god, he's not a nice guy at all. I can't understand.
Canadian are fighting dirty right now.
Yeah.
No, that's just Deb.
So, this is the outro. What do you have going on at the Dragon?
Accumulate.
I do have game streams that are coming back. I would have had something more funner, but a 48-year-old man-child imploded. But that would have been
He got in an
fun
argument live with his favorite person, the Beans from Australia.
No,
That sounds
Stray
fun.
Beans is
Why
just
wasn't I there?
No, but no, I only have gaming, and then I do have some commentary
Obsessed with
stuff
Dragon
coming up.
Man. It's funny.
I do have some commentary topics next week, so hopefully.
He's going around starting little like troubles. He's like the troubles, Irish history troubles. He just goes around starts little problems. He talks shit.
No.
That's what he does. That's why I love him.
But no, I
Right.
do have something I am waiting to get back from
See?
Sorter, but I do have commentary stuff and just game streams.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody make so many multiple accounts just to harass somebody before, like Stray Beans.
What
Stray
do you
Beans.
have going on, Mandalore?
Yeah, Darth, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, next Saturday around the same time, maybe a bit earlier, depending what's going on in real life. We
We'll
will
see how I'm feeling.
What do you
we
think of the
will
Baby
talk
Yoda
about
and
censorship laws.
Mandalore movie coming out? Are you gonna talk about that? Have you talked about that? Are you gonna talk about it? What do you think?
No idea. I'm in no rush to see it.
Now we're just inviting depression on poor people.
Okay, I thought maybe he might be a little
No.
happy. Like, do you
You know
like
what?
Baby
I'm gonna
Yoda?
make. I want to make her suffer and watch Alien Earth.
He would do that to me too, just because he's evil.
Because that's the dragon. What do you have going on your end of the internet, Miss Sparkle?
I'm going to be with Abomination AJ. What's his name? T-Matt knows. Abomination AJ.
Yeah.
T-Matt, you know.
Makes
Is
his
that how
way
you pronounce it?
around.
Yeah, him. Him and I
Abomination
still are clashing. Remember our first stream when we met and we clashed? We're still a little clashing. But with Enzo, I'm going to be with Stepenzo after this probably. Talk about horror
Amazing.
movies. And then tomorrow I should be with Sammy Three Peats. And then I'm with Lilith on Thursdays on Noises channel. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into things even though I've been really, really depressed. And I feel really ugly. I gained weight since my accident. So tell me I'm pretty.
That one day that sealing device in my
You have
house
nice hairs.
started making those beeping noises.
Sorry, I cannot lie. I'm not a liar.
Why?
Because I'm a Barbie, you know?
He still has that. I have never. You know what? I never changed my image. This image, I will say it. If anyone can ever find it, you have to dig through Arch's Discord server to find it. And that's why I have kept it.
I want to sell a body pillow.
So tomorrow, Smashing Machine, the new Dwayne Johnson movie. For once, he can actually act. That's shocking and surprising. I cannot wait to talk
And
about
it's
it.
also bullshit.
Have you seen it?
No, I just know The Rock can't act.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
I'm not trying to be mean. It's going to be terrible. I mean,
Tuesday we talked about Injustice for All and Kramer versus Kramer. Wednesday we talked about Peacemaker season 1 because season 2 is about to end. And next Saturday we will talk about laws, censorship, and Canada is doomed. We are very, very hopeful here in this channel. We praise Canada and we are effed over. That's how we do it.
in stage liberalism.
Hell yeah, the way to do it. China,
Just socialism/communism.
China all, and we are out.
Well, in stage liberalism, all